You're listening to Search the Scriptures Daily, a program in which we encourage everyone who desires to know God's truth to look to God's Word for all that is essential for salvation and living one's life in a way that is pleasing to Him. Our topic is psychology in the church, and today we're going to discuss the relationship between psychotherapeutic or psychological counseling concepts and Eastern religions. Now, Dave, that might sound like a stretch, to some who are listening or watching our program, but that observation is hardly unique to biblical Christians like us who are critical of psychotherapy. In fact, it's almost common knowledge among the researchers as well as many of the practitioners. But before we get to that, a couple of weeks ago when we were discussing the DSM, that is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the latest version, which includes around 370 some mental disorders, for those who are not familiar with the DSM, it's the handbook used by nearly all psychotherapists for the purposes of recognizing the symptoms of certain disorders, and then because a disorder is listed in the DSM, then that becomes a basis for billing a counselee's insurance company. So it has some practical value for them. Sure. There are 374 alleged mental disorders that are included in the DSM, and they're there on the basis of rigorous science. No, Dave, as you know, a vote. One such disorder, which we talked about, ODD, odd, right? That's oppositional defiant disorder, which is defined as, I'm quoting, hostile behavior toward authority figures. The symptoms include losing one's temper. Now, Dave, see if you fit into any of this, or if you've had any children that fit into this. Losing one's temper, arguing with adults, deliberately doing things that will annoy other people. I have 5 children. The boys annoy the girls? No, they never did that, Dave. Or blaming others for his or her own mistakes or misbehavior.
Now, Tom, before you get into that, when you mention a vote, it's not a unanimous vote. Sometimes it's pretty close as to whether it falls into the category of mental disorder or not. This is not science. No. They should understand.
And in this day of political correctness, it just shows you how weak, absurd that really is.
And they should understand that there are, several hundred psychotherapeutic techniques, many of which conflict with the others.
Yeah, there's 500 different approaches, more than 10,000 variations on that, right. Techniques and so on.
So the psychiatrist or the psychologist, they do not agree with one another. So take your pick. Mm-hmm. You want a heart transplant, or would you like your kidney transplanted? Which do you want? Let's vote on it. It's like a cafeteria.
Dave, the reason I'm going back to the DSM, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and if anybody's interested in hearing what we had to say about it, which we document, they can go to our website and listen to those programs, which are archived. The reason I wanted to go back to that is you made a statement a couple of weeks ago about psychology and religion, some spiritual ideas. You talked about transpersonal psychology, which mostly has to do with the spiritual realm. And you asked the question, what do they learn in school about spirituality? Well, let me quote to you from the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, under the section called Other Conditions that may be a focus of clinical attention. It's code V62.89, and it has to do with religious or spiritual problem. That's the way it's identified. Examples include distressing experiences that involve loss or questioning of faith, problems associated with conversion to a new faith, or questioning of spiritual values.
Tom, let me interrupt again.
No, don't. You pick it up right from there. What do these guys know about spirituality? What did they learn about spirituality?
Most of them are atheists.
Yeah.
If you want to take a poll. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to advise you. It's like the people who counsel you on dying. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in an afterlife.
Well, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. would be a name.
Yes, I had a little debate with her of sorts on TV. She was very unhappy with me. She said she would not want me to counsel any of the dying because I was a fundamentalist. I said Jesus Christ is the only way, and she really had nothing to offer. She was a psychotherapist, psychiatrist.
Dave, let me qualify one thing that you said. You said most of them are atheists. Well, as like a Buddhist is an atheist. I mean, in other words, many of them, most of them, you'd say, well, they're atheists, but most of them really are New Agers, which we're going to get into, the whole thrust of psychotherapy toward Eastern mysticism. But she had seances at her ashram, her retreat center down in San Diego. They were investigated by the district attorney down of San Diego.
Of course. And Tom, when you say New Agers, a New Ager says, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Mm-hmm. What they mean is they want to be, space cadets out there somewhere being spiritual, hugging trees or who knows what, but no rules, no doctrine. And, of course, Paul told Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 4, the day will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. And unfortunately, it's not even endured in many churches today. Doctrine is boring. Let's get into something a little more.
Psychotherapy is all based on feelings, how you feel about something. So you certainly wouldn't want rules with regard to feelings, because my feelings may be offended by the rules.
The AHP, Tom, Association for Humanistic Psychology. Now, if anyone wants to check up on this, why don't you go back and look at the schedule of speakers and workshops for some of their past or present conventions. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I ever told this story. See, I've been writing about this, talking about it for years, and here was a couple. They've got a ministry, I won't name them, and they lived in the Indianapolis area, and they're not quite sure that I might be exaggerating. So they went to a convention being held in Indianapolis, and they haven't registered, they haven't paid anything, but they're picking up free literature. And then some people are filing into a room, so they just decide to follow them. And they go in there, and everybody thinks they're part of the crowd. And, well, what are they going to do? They're making little animal masks. I'm not kidding you. Now, these are PhDs. These are medical doctors and professors. They're making little, some of them want to be a cat or a mouse or, a falcon or whatever. And so they go right along with it. They pretend like they're drawing a face too, and that they're going to put this on, hold it in front of themselves. And then they start going around the room. Oh, they lower the lights. Now, Tom, this is the Association for Humanistic Psychology, mm-hmm. and they are really into religion, all right? They even have seances at some of these. Well, this was getting into a seance. And here's, I just came from the North Pole. I'm very cold up there, but I'm feeling much better down here. Some little bird from this lady is, it's speaking through her now, she thinks. They're channeling these animals. And they go around the room, and these people are getting rather uncomfortable. It's getting weirder and weirder. And then it comes to them. Well, the husband is a bit of he's not quite as bold. The wife is very bold, and she stands up in the middle of the room, and she starts reciting John 3:16. Wow, did that agitate these animals? They just had it's getting really wild in there, and the snake is hissing at them and sticking out its tongue and so forth.
For more information about the Berean Call, call us toll-free at our order number or visit our website,